Welcome back to Uncaged. Today, I'm going to answer some of the questions that I've seen coming from you guys over the past week. And in true fashion, I'm going to dive right in. Question number one, should you invest in CSPX? So some of you may have seen my previous video where I announced that the largest fund manager in the world, BlackRock, made and tokenized its biggest ETF on the planet, CSPX, made it available to trade on Uniswap outside of the US. Now, do I think this is worthwhile investing in for many of us? In short, no. Without getting into the weeds in this one, I think that this type of asset and financial vehicle is set up for a very different demographic to those of us who already have a vested interest in crypto. Again, in a nutshell, I think that right now there are other opportunities to better capitalize on. So this isn't necessarily something we should be investing in right now. However, what I do think and why I think it's so great is that it's a huge macro indicator of what's to come. It's a signifier of mass traditional finance interest in crypto and should make for some huge parabolic movement within the crypto space further down the line as a lot more of these traditional financial institutions start to take larger positions. Question two, is Hex and the Richard Heart ecosystem decorrelated? Well, I think right now, if you look at the price movement, we seem to be pretty much in conjunction with the larger crypto realm. But what I do think is, as we start seeing these catalysts taking place, testnet V3, mainnet announcements, and all of the excitement and the exciting things that are going to happen within the Richard Heart ecosystem surrounding the Pulse chain, the Pulse X launch, I think that this hype cycle is certainly going to provide an opportunity where we are going to see, hopefully, some strong decorrelation from the rest of the market. I think there is simply too much excitement going into this market that shouldn't silo or isolate a lot of the positive price movement that we should see during the next couple of months at least. Post that hype cycle, let's say, as we start entering what should be the bull market in full, hopefully, it's my opinion that that decorrelation weakened somewhat, and we're able to continue onwards movement with the rest of the crypto world after seeing that positive price action, and hopefully we maintain those levels and then take it to the next level and the next level along with the wider crypto world. And I think with a lot of these macroeconomic elements coming into play, there's a very good chance of that. Question three, why is delay good? You may have heard me talk about this in previous streams and videos. Why is it good that we are delaying the Pulse X and the Pulse Chain launch? Well, it's simple. This gives us more time to accumulate. Right now, there are a lot of people with trading mentalities out there who have been extremely excited about 3 cents, 4 cents, 5 cents, 6 cents Hex, will probably get excited about 7 cents, and they've sold along the way. And of course, price has run away from them, and they're probably regretting that now. This right now, in my opinion, right now, relatively speaking to what's to come, we are still very, very low on the Hex price chart. Right now is the exact time we should be accumulating. I am continuing to accumulate just because I'm dollar cost averaging in higher than when I got in at 2 cents and 3 cents and 4 cents doesn't make right now a bad investment. I think that a lot of people out there seem to be extremely bullish about Hex for all the right reasons. However, they seem to curb their enthusiasm in terms of just how high price appreciation can go based on some illogical factors. The way that Hex is set up, the way that the liquidity foundation is set up, should make for some real high price movement. And I think reaching previous all-time highs is going to be nothing. I think we're going to do that in really quick timing. And we're going to go post-dollar into multiple dollars before this next cycle is out. So right now, getting into Hex, in my opinion, and this is just someone who's not a financial advisor, I think that right now we should be accumulating as much as we can. So this delay gives us that opportunity, because as soon as we start seeing some of these announcements take place, well, while the opportunity still may be good in the long run, it's going to be a lot less of a return based on getting in right now. And so to keep it simple, that's exactly my ethos right now. A delay means longer time to set a stronger position. Okay, now this is a bit of a generalized question. Why bullish? Why bullish about crypto? Why bullish about the Richard Heart ecosystem, about Hex in particular? There are so many reasons right now. We've talked about traditional finance and the interest coming into crypto, which I cannot overstate. It's going to be huge. I have talked to contacts of mine who are fund managers, who do work at these large institutions, VCs, banks. The excitement is very real, and we are going to see some traditional money coming in from traditional finance injected into crypto like we've never seen before. So we get to see how much price action we're going to see as a benefit coming in from this new interest, but something's telling me that this is going to be parabolic and it's going to be the mother of all bull cycles. Now, we've talked about some of the bigger voices throughout traditional finance, people like Larry Fink, who is the CEO of BlackRock, who has stated on record that he sees the next generation of finance being focused around an ethos of this new tokenization. And it's not so new. We've tried this before, as we've said before, but now tokenization is taking form in a much more mature crypto landscape. And so we're really able to capitalize it and handle the types of activity that we're going to see throughout the crypto world. We've also seen people like Kathy Wood showing an extreme interest in crypto. She is part of one of the biggest funds in the world, also ARK Invest, huge proponent of new technologies, and has stated that crypto technology and the data gathering that goes along with that, especially in a fully vertically integrated ecosystem like Richard Hart, is going to provide many investment opportunities for fund managers. And so that's even more bullish as well. We have people like Chamath Palihapitiya, one huge voice within the tech sector, within the finance sector, a huge VC person who also takes a lot of interest in new technologies, things like electric vehicles, for instance, when that started becoming a real buzzword in the financial world. People like this talking about how important crypto is going to be when it comes to allocating certain asset classes. Now, do you think Chamath Palihapitiya, who is notorious for his special acquisition companies, who, these are basically companies that go through an IPO, they raise funds with the sole purpose of investing into new technologies, new companies, new projects. Do you think that this business model isn't something that is on the radar to be shifted over into a tokenized universe? I really think it will. I think that these special acquisition companies are going to be formed. They are already to a much smaller extent, but I think that some of these more traditional focused fund managers are going to look to raise funds to invest where the innovation is. And a lot of that innovation, of course, is in crypto. Now, aside from that, we're seeing some huge technological advances in AI, for instance. Since ChatGPT became a household name, we are seeing a lot of interest in crypto. Things like Fetch AI, for instance. We're seeing a lot of other tokens come to fruition as well, of course. And so, just these projects alone, they are the start of many new projects to come in this space. I think that Starlink from Elon Musk, one of the biggest voices when it comes to crypto, even if he's not, a full kind of project manager within the crypto space, he still has a very powerful voice and can move markets with a tweet. Someone like that providing free internet to the rest of the world, people who haven't had access to bank accounts, to crypto, as long as they can get their hands on a smartphone, which isn't too difficult nowadays, they are going to be able to bring new retail revenue into the crypto space, new interest, new eyeballs, new network effect. This is going to be huge in itself. And I think that all of these technological advances, all of these peripheral advances are certainly going to have a huge impact on crypto that many of us should be predicting now. And so these are some of the influences that I believe are really going to push this next bull cycle to the next level. Okay, next one. Hex price prediction. Now, again, this is a loaded question. I'm certainly not intimidated to give you my 2 cents on where I think price appreciation will go. In a nutshell, to get right to it, I think that previous all-time highs are going to be blown through. I think we're going to see that as we get at least to mainnet launch. And then post that, I think that given the liquidity, given the amount of stakers right now, given all the facets that math would dictate, we go post a dollar into multiple dollars at the very least during this next bull cycle. I'm going to leave it at that for this video because at the end of the day, you're asking for my price appreciation. But I think anyone who's not expecting to blow past previous all-time highs is being needlessly conservative. I think if you are bullish about this project, be bullish about it. Look at what actually makes sense from an algorithmic perspective. And that is what you should build your price predictions on. And I really do think just with this, with all the exciting things again that are happening within this ecosystem, we are going to see some unprecedented price prediction with Hex, both on eHex and pHex when everyone gets that copy. Another thing to note too is, with Hex, we're seeing more projects like, Hedron, like Icosa, they're really building on the compounded yield effect with Hex as well, making this a very forward-thinking avenue for residual income. there is going to be in the future no reason to sell your Hex, which is very powerful. And I think that the longer time goes on where Hex hasn't had any downfalls, aside from price action, which of course every token in the world kind of goes through their peaks and troughs. But from a technology perspective, from doing what it says on the tin, I think that Hex is on the precipice of positioning itself as one of the best store of values there is, and a store of value that not only maintains its price and increases its price at a parabolic rate looking at historical data, but one that provides avenues of receiving some astronomical yield as well. All these indicators mean that Hex is going to be around for a good long while. And so, as that continues to happen, more people are going to realize that they should be putting in longer stakes and looking to really capitalize on this compounding yield effect going forward, which is only going to make for more positive price action as well. I couldn't be more bullish on Hex right now, to be quite honest with you. Okay. The next question is, do I expect Pulse Chain or PulseX to dip during this next cycle? So I'm assuming they mean after this launch. And yes, I do. To be honest with you, I think it's very difficult for those who have been in crypto for a good long while. There is a reason why the majority of tokens and projects that have come out the gates very, very strong have inevitably taken a dip. And that is because it's very tough to teach an old dog new tricks. There are a lot of people with trading mentalities in crypto that ultimately, whether it has a logical reason to do so or not, they're going to base a lot of their decision making on future looking perceived sentiment. And I think that that alone, just expecting a dip, is going to be the trigger for a lot of people to start acting and having that kind of self-fulfilling prophecy when it comes to an eventual dip. But what I do think is that this dip isn't necessarily going to be as steep or as long as we've seen previously, and for a number of reasons. I think that as we start this hype cycle and we capitalize on that momentum a great deal, hopefully seeing some real great price action throughout the Richard Heart ecosystem. As that hype cycle comes to its natural end and we start entering, hopefully, what is the bull cycle in full, I think we have a real good opportunity to continue moving upwards not long after that initial dip. And I think that a lot of the catalysts in the greater crypto sphere that we've talked about, a lot of this traditional finance coming to fruition, on top of the usual cycle motivators like the Bitcoin halving and whatnot, I think that this cycle in particular has a real good opportunity to keep pushing this ecosystem's price way, way higher past its initial, monumental rise, let's say. And I think that ongoing, as we've talked about previously, Pulse Chain have a high potential of being the story of this next bull cycle. And so if they continue to dominate after that initial rise in prices we all would expect, I don't see why even the most conservative investors wouldn't want to get back into that ecosystem, or at least apply more capital towards the ecosystem once they see that initial dip after the initial rise isn't as steep as feared. And then it leads us to our last one, which I don't think has been answered by myself necessarily. I think I've given some good price action, but during the first 12 months of launch, what is my Pulse Chain and PulseX prediction? I'm going to say that we should see in Pulse Chain a minimum of 100x within the first 12 months, which seems bullish. But again, I don't think so. I think that all of these variables that are involved in what should be an extremely bullish next bull cycle, I think that that's small potatoes in the grand scheme of what we're going to see. So I think for both PulseX and Pulse Chain, 100x during that first 12 months really shouldn't be too huge in compared to what we're going to see. Now, I don't know how many thousands of X's we're going to see during this cycle or the next cycle, but I really do think that if a lot of us were hoping for a moonshot with Hex, with Pulse Chain, without being too much of a moon boy, I think that we're provided with possibly the best opportunity to see that than we've ever seen. I think that we've never seen quite so much outside interest from the wider financial world for all the reasons we've talked about. Plus, that will have a knock-on effect and a network effect for the rest of those retail investors that are taking heed of some of the larger institutes acting in the way that they see fit. And I really do think that this is going to be a monumental bull cycle to come. So stay tuned. I hope this is bullish to a lot of you. I'll look to put out some more videos this week as well, starting to address some of the things that I've been talking about with some of my contacts. But hopefully for now, this has answered a few of the questions that have come through that I haven't been able to answer through through the chat or the comments section, and stay tuned. I'll catch you on the next one.